Hello, and thank you for joining us once again on Classic Vinyl Podcast. This is the podcast where we listen to and review songs and albums from the classic vinyl era of the 60s and 70s. I am one of your hosts, Justin, and like always, here in the basement studio, I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler, who last night saw the fire spreading to the palace door.
Not only did it spread to the palace door, it also spread across the countryside.
It was a wildfire.
It got out of control.
I don't know what this effigy he's talking about is, but it sounds like it was the whole earth.
Yeah, we're going to burning effigy.
So today we're doing CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and their kind of hidden gem of a song, Effigy. It's one I've always enjoyed, but we did have Dale from Goodyear, Arizona, send a email into classicvinylpodcast@gmail.com asking us to do Effigy, and I was more than happy to do this one.
Excellent suggestion, Dale.
Yep. So let's get to a little history about the band Creedence Clearwater Revival. They were formed in 1967 in El Cerrito, California. They started in 67 as a band they were a teenage band called the Blue Velvets, and they signed to Fantasy Records right after that, and they were known as the Gollywogs at that time. But shortly after that, they did change their name to Creedence Clearwater Revival. So they are formed of John Fogerty on vocals and guitar, Tom Fogerty on rhythm guitar, that's John's brother, Stu Cook on bass, and Doug Clifford on drums. Now, this band was basically active only for 5 years, from 1967 to 72, but boy, did they hit it big during those 5 years. I would probably dare say they were one of the biggest bands in the world at that time. They really developed that, I don't even know what you want to call it, these boys from San Francisco. You know, you wouldn't ever know it because they developed that swamp rock sound, blending rock, blues, country. I mean, a ton of Southern imagery. They're all from California.
Yeah, these guys are Willy and the Po' Boys.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But the band overall has sold 50 million plus albums worldwide, which for a 5-year span of time is pretty impressive, to be honest. And they're one of the most successful American rock bands of the late 1960s, and they were a major rival to what was going on with all those bands coming over from the British invasion. So they were our reinforcements here in the States.
From the backwaters of San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. The bayou of San Francisco. So all in all, they've released 7 studio albums, 2 live albums, 1 EP, over 20 compilation albums, something like 7 box sets and 25 plus singles. Okay, so as far as albums are concerned in the U.S., they had 7 top 100 albums, 6 in the top 40, and 3 in the top 10. Now, their top 3 albums in the U.S. were Green River in 1969, which hit number 1, Cosmo's Factory in 1970, which hit number 1, and Willy and the Po' Boys in 1969 as well, that hit number 3. Now, in the UK, they had 6 albums in the top 100, 4 in the top 40, just 1 in the top 10, and that was Cosmo's Factory, which hit number 1. So our neighbors directly to the north in Canada, as far as their albums are concerned, they had 7 in the top 100, 6 in the top 40, and 3 albums in the top 10, just like we did here in the U.S. Cosmo's Factory, Green River, and Pendulum all hit number 1. So their 3 in the top 10 all did hit number 1.
It would seem that their fan base extends beyond those that don't wear shoes.
Exactly. And that includes me because I always wear my shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as singles are concerned, here in the U.S., they had 18 in the top 100, 9 in the top 40, and they had 3 songs in the top 10, but not a number 1 song. Proud Mary, Bad Moon Rising, and Green River, all very popular songs, all hit number 2, but no number 1 single. Now, on the UK single charts, they had 10 top 100 songs, 6 in the top 40, and 2 in the top 10. It's really nice that I can read my own notes here. But Bad Moon Rising hit number 1 in the UK, and Proud Mary hit number 8. And their next closest one to that was Have You Ever Seen the Rain? Just barely made it into the top 40 at number 36. Now, once again, our neighbors to the north in Canada, there was 15 singles in the top 100 there, 8 of them in the top 40, and 5 top 10 hits. So they actually did better up there with hits than they did here in the States. But their top Canadian singles were Bad Moon Rising, Up Around the Bend, and Travelin' Band. All 3 songs hit number 1 in Canada. So our American Saviors didn't have a number 1 hit here in the States, but had 3 of them in Canada.
That's surprising, but it's also surprising that those are the 3 songs. Canadians, I love you guys to pieces. I don't know that I understand you, but hey, we love you.
Yeah, certainly do. So the band disbanded in 1972. They've had brief reunions, but none of them have included the full lineup. John Fogerty's brother Tom died in September of 1990. They're one of the few bands, as big as they were here in the States, to have several number 2 hits and several hits no matter what, but not a number 1. So it's kind of sad that way. But John Fogerty, he really led the band. He wrote all the music. He told them what to do. He was the leader of this band. He was the sound of this band. And he had a pretty successful solo career after this too. And there's been a lot of legal disputes, though, between this band and John Fogerty. Mainly, I think they wanted to write a lot of their own music, which they did on their last album, and that album didn't do very well. So, sometimes the formula works and you just got to stick with it. But the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993, deservedly so.
Yeah, well, that's about right, I'd say.
Yeah, so pretty early on, and they definitely deserved it. And the thing about Creedence, you notice now, is many of their songs are still played on the radio or still played in pop culture, whether it be commercials or movies or whatever it is. And they're everywhere. Even if people don't know who Creedence is,
they know their songs.
You've heard a lot of their songs. Now, this one we're doing today, Effigy, might be one you haven't heard because it is a little bit different and it's a little more of a buried song. I don't know if I've ever even heard it played on the radio.
I don't know that it does get played on the radio. It's a song that I'm sure I've heard before because I recognized it, but it's not. It is a little bit of a deep cut from them.
So do you want to get to the song review?
Yeah, let's review it.
And now it's time for the song review.
Okay, so today we're doing Effigy by Creedence Clearwater Revival, and we're kind of changing things up this week, and it's mainly because of the time we have on our hands. We usually sit down and listen to these songs multiple times right before we record. So I told Tyler we're going to change it up a little bit. This is the song we're going to review this week, and I send it to him a week early. He gets to listen to it as many times as he wants over the week, and then we just listen to it one time to refresh ourselves right before recording. But Tyler, what is your history with this song previous to this week?
I would be shocked if I've heard this more than a handful of times. I've heard it, but it's there's a tone with this song that's real haunting and off-putting, and it bends down to a flat, I think that's what they do. They do kind of a half step down where it goes kind of flat.
Well, the song does have kind of a haunting sound, and I mean, that kind of goes a little bit along with the content of the song, but let me give you a little history on the song itself. So song was released on November 2nd of 1969 in the U.S., and it was part of the album, but not released as a standalone single in the U.S. or the U.K., and that album it was on was Willy and the Poor Boys. And like I said, it was not released as a single anywhere. So that's kind of what makes this song a little deeper than what we're used to. But so the album Willy and the Poor Boys itself did pretty well. It reached number 3 on the U.S. Billboard 200, number 10 in UK, but did reach number 1 in Canada. Once again, the Canadians like this southern band from the Bay Area.
It pairs nicely with pancakes with maple syrup.
Yeah, I guess so. So the album itself has sold over 3 million copies in the U.S. and over 7 million copies worldwide. It is certified 3 times platinum by the RIAA here in the U.S. And the album, I mean, it's a packed album. It's known, obviously, this song's on it, which isn't super popular, but Fortunate Son, Down on the Corner, Traveling Band. I mean, those are defining songs from this band that you hear all over the radio and pop culture still to this day.
It looks like this album was just out looking to start a revolt.
Yeah, it pretty much was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just protest anthem after protest anthem.
Yeah, I mean, that's the funny thing is you can't watch any kind of movie about, let's say, the Vietnam War or something without hearing a couple Creedence songs.
Especially Fortunate Son.
Yeah, I agree with that. So this song, Effigy, was written by John Fogerty, and he, of course, is the lead vocal on this song. And as this was recorded, you've got Fogerty on lead vocals and lead guitar, his brother Tom Fogerty on rhythm guitar, Stu Cook on bass, and Doug Clifford on drums, just like all their other work. It's recorded in 1969 at Wally Heider Studios in San Francisco and produced by John Fogerty himself. Now, John Fogerty's production work was kind of interesting because he really focused on Creedence themselves and doing something new instead of looking to other outside influences. And when he says that now to this day, but obviously other influences, I'm sure, weigh on him a little bit, but he did definitely break into something that was new.
And for as many hats as he wore, I guess he really is living that credo of, if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Well, and who are we to disagree with their popularity?
Look at him. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably one of the main reasons this song wasn't released as a single is because it would have been cut down, because this is almost a 7-minute song.
Yeah, it's a long drag, man.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of it's instrumental too. There's not a ton of lyrics in it, but I mean, and the recording features, well, like we were talking, it's kind of a dark sound to it. It's got kind of that swampy groove, and it's got a long fade out at the end, which I generally don't like, but it works on this one, I think, because it's so instrumental, and it's just really a repetitive song. It doesn't have a lot of structure to it as far as a bunch of different verses and a huge chorus and the middle 8 and all that stuff. It really is repetitive, and sometimes that can be gnawing on you a little bit, but to me, the way this song is and the way it's dark, it works. But
well, we've done a few songs that have a similar quality about them recently, and this one, it seems like a fire, like watching a fire start and smolder, spark to flame, and then ignite the tinder, and it just starts to grow into a roaring blaze, and then a forest fire.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, I guess.
It's an illustration.
Yeah, it certainly is. And although this band had a ton of political songs, mainly fight against the man type of things, I mean, this one certainly is overtly political. It's kind of criticizing leadership and power, and it's been widely interpreted as referencing Richard Nixon and what was going on with the Vietnam War at the time, and using the burning of an effigy. You can kind of explain what an effigy is.
So burning an effigy was a protest thing where they would take they'd basically make a mannequin or a dummy, a doll, or, even like modern day Mexican people still make piñatas that look like things, and they beat the crap out of them. Well, burning's kind of like that, except for instead of beating the crap out of them, you take this doll and you ignite it on fire and you burn whoever it is you don't like that you're protesting.
Yeah, you're basically desecrating something and saying, this is you, what we'd want to do to you, or what we think of your ideals and things like that. So
you saw all this. It was real popular to burn like King George III in the American Revolution. They'd make these dummies or scarecrow looking things out of things that look like him, and then they'd set them on fire.
Well, as much as I like this song, I don't think it would have done very well on the radio anyways. And even though it is overtly political, if you're not really paying attention to what an effigy is and what's going on in the song, you may not take it that way. So
no, the song itself, with the repetition, it's all like, it is very repetitive, but it's also progressive. So it repeats a lot, but it intensifies as it goes. And that intensity, it makes you feel like you're leaning the way that the music plays. It bends a little, and that's why it makes you feel a little off kilter.
I kind of look for some alternate versions, and there's not very many of them. There's no demos that I can find on it. It has been released on Chronicle, the 20 Greatest Hits. Funny enough, because they've got a ton of big songs, so it's funny that this one made it to there. But
I would be surprised. Has anybody covered this song?
Well, not that I've seen. I couldn't find any major covers of it. And it's kind of surprising because it is, even though it is overtly political, it does kind of cover a number of issues in a way. You could kind of make it to your own meaning.
Yeah. I'm a little not surprised that it wasn't covered by other groups.
Yeah, and this is a song that hasn't made its way to any top 500 Rolling Stones list or anything like that. And I think even big CCR fans that are more radio-friendly hit from CCR might not even know this song, but I would highly suggest you check it out. But after listening to this week, and then, of course, we listened to it just a minute ago, what are your thoughts on Effigy, Tyler?
I gave this one probably a good half a dozen going throughs, just over the course of the last week. And so it's got this like soft guitar open where they just kind of pluck it out a little and then it starts to grow and then the words come in. And it's singing about like this fire, like he comes out in the night and sees these fires burning. It's warm, the fires are burning warm and there's people around, and then it starts to spread. And so you start to get this sense of, okay, so this fire is symbolic of something. It seems like this is a fire that is a protest that's catching or gaining traction and it's catching on and it's starting to grow. Not only is it just people out on the street around, like a barrel fire or something in the wintertime. No, this is like something that people are discussing this, and then as the fire starts to grow and glow and it spreads, it catches on, and then it moves over to another big symbol, the palace door, which that's pretty blatantly the White House door. So like they all go and march on Washington and go to the president and say, hey, end this war in Vietnam. Stop, sending our boys over there to die. Then the next verse comes back and it's like, okay, well, we saw the fire burning and then it spread across the countryside. And so that it really takes off.
So what do you think when he's talking about an effigy? What do you think they're using as the effigy?
That's why I can't figure, because later on in the song, he talks about the bodies in Vietnam were burning in effigy, right?
Yeah, and does that officially an effigy? I mean, that doesn't, because that's a symptom of war. That doesn't seem like, because to me, I'm thinking of an effigy as something you do on purpose to make a point.
Yeah.
And I hate to think about war that way.
It would be a representation of something else, right? But that's very literal when you say, oh, these bodies are burning. Are these bodies that are burning in Vietnam, are they burning in effigy of the youth of America, an entire generation of youth and innocence being burned or destroyed?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure either, but it does feel very political. I'm not sure that it's all supposed to be as literal as it comes across, but man, it's a powerful image. The way that he talks about who, and he repeats that question: who is burned in effigy? I don't know. Like, are they? What is it? Because they're not burning the president, and in fact, I think nowadays, if you were to burn the president in effigy, you'd probably have the FBI at your house, or even to talk about it, right?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, recently they tried to get rid of burning the flag and make that a illegal thing to do.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the whole thing, is that's a powerful symbol and a way of expression and protest. I know that the courts have really defended your right to burn flags over the course of this country's lifespan. It doesn't really say who is burned in effigy. He just keeps repeating that question. And I'm not sure what the answer is.
Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe it's just this is a very dark, hypnotic song. And the one thing that makes this song different from CCR's other songs, especially their hits, is all their hits had that hook on them that got you in. And Fogerty knew how to write a good hook. This song does not really have a hook because it's so repetitive and hypnotic and getting this point across of whatever it is, his political statement. And maybe that's the whole point of it, is you're supposed to read into it.
Yeah, could be. I guess I'm walking away from this song with a lot of questions, but I'm also walking away with some answers, and I really like it. This song it rolls nice.
Well, and something I made a note of here is this song isn't like Fortunate Son. Fortunate Son is direct and literal with all the lyrics. I mean, you know exactly what it's talking about. Yeah. And Fogerty himself has said, I've seen all these people that had fathers whatever for senators or governors' kids or whatever, and they got out of the war. They didn't have to be drafted. And, he had just got back from Vietnam or wherever he was in the army. I don't know if he went to Vietnam, but he had just got out of the army because he was drafted. And he's like basically saying, this is bullshit. What makes you guys so fortunate? I'm not the fortunate one,
Yeah.
And so that's literal. This one kind of leaves it up to your imagination of what exactly he's talking about. I mean, you kind of know, but in a way you don't fully know.
And I think he does that on purpose to kind of leave the ball in your court to say, hey, I'm putting this down at your feet. You pick up and run with it. So it really seems to me like he's trying to inspire a revolution or some sort of protest from this.
Yeah, he's not happy with stuff, no doubt about it.
No, and I'm surprised that it didn't generate even more. Well, maybe it did. I mean, this is it. I need to do a little bit more research into the era, because a song like this, it certainly is inspiring.
Yeah, but I think where it's not literal and this wasn't released as a single or even a B-side, I think that probably, I wouldn't say hurts the song, but I mean, it's not going to put it out there the same way.
Yeah, this probably was panned as album filler.
Could have been.
Yeah, and like I said, that eeriness, this doesn't have a pleasant sound on the ears the way that Fortunate Son does. I mean, Fortunate Son's just a pissed off rock song, and it's awesome. People love it. I love it. This song, it's unsettling. It's unnerving, and it's got that same level of ire or angst in it, but it's not so clear about, it's not so in your face pissed off, right? It's just, there's something, it's a foreboding cautionary tale that he's telling. Like an old German fable. The boy that sucks his thumbs too much is going to have his thumbs bit off by gnomes in the night or something, and then he won't have thumbs. Yeah. Something like that. All in all, this song, as unsettling as it was, I've come to love it after just a week of being dipped in it. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed this song quite well. In fact, even as much as I love the songs like Fortunate Son and Down on the Corner and all those different, Run Through the Jungle, all their famous songs, I kind of lean more towards some of the hidden gems now with Creedence. And this is one, probably the only thing I don't like about this song, and I shouldn't even say I don't like it, but as a piano opening, it doesn't seem to fit because it's got the piano opening and it opens kind of slow, but it goes straight into the guitar. What I think's the best about this song is it leaves it up to the imagination. I like the repetitive nature of it. I normally don't like songs that are super repetitive, but because this one's kind of a dark feeling, I like that. And it's got two awesome guitar solos in it.
Yeah.
Probably out of the 7, I mean, I think it's about 6.5 minutes long, but probably 3 minutes of it, probably a good half of it is just instrumental and a lot of guitar noodling. And I really enjoy the early stuff from Creedence. 68, 69 is what I really like from them a lot. So, and this one's no exception. It's got decent drums and bass, and of course those guys did a good job doing exactly what John Fogerty told them to do. But without a doubt, I like the guitar solos on this the most, and I like the darkness of the song. It's just kind of hypnotic, and that's what I like about it. And even the fade out works because it's, like I said earlier, it's going from the instrumental into a fade out, so it just kind of fits. Because it's just kind of lulling. I wouldn't say even lulling you asleep, but it's just dark. It's, I don't know, but I really enjoy this song. So I was pretty excited when we got the request to do this one.
Yeah, for sure. This one, it reminds me of this classic piece called The Bolero. I believe that the composer was Ravel. And that song is super repetitive as well. But it starts off silent and quiet, and it slowly grows and builds. And I think that John Fogerty has recaptured that really difficult thing to do, because you have to start soft and quiet and then build up. Because if you start as hard rock at the beginning, then you can't really grow from there. But man, this thing, it takes off like a flame and starts to spread like wildfire, and it's awesome.
So we want to rate the song.
Let's rate it.
Song rating.
Okay, listener, if this is your first episode, I will briefly explain our rating system to you. It's a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best, and I put this one pretty up there at a 7. I didn't really like the music at first because it's so unsettling, but then that message came through and the purpose of this song was written for, like that protest and inciting people to action, that just kicked it up. And so this isn't like a favorite for me, but it's growing on me and I do love it. So where do you put this one, Justin?
Yeah, I rated it a little higher than you. I rate this at 8.5. I think this is an excellent song and a hidden gem for anybody that hasn't heard it. It's a song I've enjoyed for a number of years, and I had Cosmo's Factory. I love that album anyways. It's a stacked album, and this is a song that wasn't popular off of it, really, unless you were a really, really serious CCR fan, but definitely worth a listen, and listen to it a few times and tell us what you think. But Dale, we appreciate your suggestion.
Yes, we do.
So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, like to tell us what you think we're wrong about, what we're right about, what you would rate the song, send them to us at classicvinylpodcast@gmail.com. Like always, you can send us any suggestions to rate songs or albums there as well. We've got quite a few in the pike right now that we need to get out, and so we'll definitely get to them. I've responded to a few of you, so we'll get to them shortly. So like always, we really appreciate you taking your time to listen to us, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See ya.